Hi, everyone. So, I had a few dreams this week that I wanted to come on and share with you. I'm going to get right into it because I have a lot to say and I still got people to get up this morning. So, the first dream I had was another Minnesota Twins dream. And for you guys that are newly subbed to me, I've dreamt about twins. And with the Minnesota Twins, this is my third dream now. So, you guys, I don't know why the Lord keeps on giving me these baseball dreams. But the first dream I had, I'm not going to share the dream, you guys. I'm just going to tell you the part that I think that is really important was my dad was sitting in the stadium at the very, very top, and my locker room was right by him as well. And I was a pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. And above my dad was two signs. One said exit and one said 69. So I believe in that part of the dream my dad represented Jesus, and I believe he was saying that we would be changed in the twinkling of an eye because the locker room was right there, and we exit within the 69 years. And as you guys know, Israel turns 70 on May 14th. So that's just my opinion of the dream. I could be wrong, but I'm just going to kind of hold on to that until May 14th. But this third dream I had, I would say sometime this weekend I had the dream. And it was really short. I was a fan for the Minnesota Twins. So I was sitting in the stadium and somebody hit a home run. And the crowd just went wild. And everybody just like flew out of their chair and they were hooping and hollering and cheering and screaming. And once it kind of calmed down a little bit where it got quiet, I heard a deathly scream to my left. And I looked over, and there was a woman that just went into labor, and she was holding her belly. And her husband was standing there looking at her, and his eyes were huge. And he's like, "Now you're going to go into labor? We're at a baseball game. Now you decide to go into labor?" And then that was the end of my dream. So I don't know, you guys, what I'm getting out of the dream, and sometimes when I get simple dreams and I think they mean this, they mean something else. But my interpretation of it is that the Lord is telling us we are now in full-blown labor. I guess it just depends on how long the delivery process is. You know, some people have their babies really fast and some take days, but that's what I'm kind of getting out of the dream is the Lord is showing us we're in labor right now. So again, just depending on how long the delivery process is, I don't know. A lot of people are pointing to Passover, and that's what I'm truly hoping for is that we're home by Passover. But some things lead us into May too. And I've said this over and over. We just need to be ready every single day, and, we do know that he's coming any day now. Any moment, the Lord is coming. So I had another dream. I don't know if it was a continuance of that dream, but that night I also had another dream. And you guys, I had a miscarriage back when I was 18 and one when I was 19. And I knew my first pregnancy, I had a boy. And I've dreamt about this little boy. This is my third dream now of my son. And in my dream, I was back home where I grew up. I grew up in a really small farm town in Minnesota. It was probably 100, 150 people. So everybody knew everybody there. And in my dream, there's like a street dance going on. We're all uptown and people are dancing and walking back and forth. And so my cell phone rings, and it's my son. And I said, "Where are you?" And he says, "I'm coming around the corner right now." And I looked down the street and I saw him leading a group of people. He was in the front of this group, and he was in a little baseball uniform. He must have been about 5, 6 years old. And I got so excited to see him that I literally woke up from the dream. So I was a little upset when I woke up because, of course, I wanted to see more of him. But I did name him David Ryan. And David means beloved, and I always think of King David. Well, then I had to look up the meaning of Ryan, and Ryan means little king. So, with this dream, you guys, I don't know if my little boy represented Jesus or the Lord was just saying, I'll be seeing my son very, very soon, because I'm not sure. On to this dream I had on Tuesday. It was just crazy, you guys. I used to babysit for this family back home, and for the last 2 months, I've probably had 5 or 6 dreams of this family, and I haven't seen them in like 30 years. I saw the mom for about 10 minutes at my dad's funeral back in 2014, but never really think about this family. And so after a couple dreams, I was just like, Lord, why do I keep on dreaming about this family? In the dreams, I'm usually babysitting, cooking, cleaning, or we're playing outside, but it always ends the same. My grandpa always comes to pick me up. And so he always walks up the driveway and he just always says, Are you ready to go home now? And then we leave. And so, again, you guys, I was just like, Lord, why do I keep on dreaming about this family? Back in October, my uncle had called me for something, and he had asked me, he said, Did you used to babysit for the Nelsons? And I said, Yeah. And he said, Well, Jason died in a car accident yesterday. And I said, Oh my gosh, how? And he said, Well, he must have been running late for work because one of his friends was driving down the road and Jason came flying by him. He said he had to have been going like 90 to 100 miles an hour, and he hit a semi and died instantly. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, you guys, I always check the Grand Forks Herald back home. I always look on the internet just to see what's happening. And 3 weeks later, then I see his mom's name in the obituary, and she died of a stroke. And I was like, oh my gosh, this poor family. So, of course, I prayed for the family, and then, for a couple days, and then I didn't think much more about the family. And then, probably early February, I started dreaming of this family. So, in this last dream, you guys, which was Tuesday, I had a dream I was babysitting, and they were young. And when I used to babysit, they had a baby that was about a year old, and then the 2 middle children were about 6 and 7. And then they had an older son, which was a couple years older than me, and his name is Chris. But the middle boy that was 7 years old, the one that died in the car accident, his name is Jason. So in my dream, I'm babysitting, and we're in the living room, and we had the TV on, and there was like a music video on the television, and it was Michael Jackson. And then all of a sudden, I'm looking at the TV, and it starts flashing, this is it, this is it, this is it. And I don't know how many times, but that's all I remember about that part of the dream was I saw Michael Jackson, and it just kept on flashing. This is it, this is it, this is it. The next thing is we're in the yard, and the little boy, Jason, was upset with me. And he walked over to this convertible, and he got convertible in the back seat. And I went and I got on the other side, and I just started talking to him and apologizing because he says, I don't know why you keep calling me Chris when you know my name is Jason. And I said, I know your name is Jason. I don't know why I keep calling you Chris. I'm so sorry. And there was a man sitting in the driver's seat, and I don't know who it was, but he said, well, you guys talk about it, and we're going to go for a little drive. And so we're driving down this gravel road, and the best way I can describe it, you guys, is like Evel Knievel. You know how he did all those tricks on his bike, and he would like fly up on a hill and then do like a somersault kind of thing with his bike and then land. So that's kind of what we were doing in the dream. We were in the convertible, and we were hitting these big old hills, and then we were flying up in the sky and kind of doing the flip and then landing. And I was like, well, that's kind of fun. That didn't hurt. And I was thinking, well, it's going to hurt when we land, but it didn't. And I was like, let's do it again. So we did it like 2 or 3 times. And then the very last one, he said, okay, you guys hold on really tight. He goes, we're going for a big one. And I remember we hit this hill and we started flying up in the air, and it was like seemed for an eternity. And then all of a sudden it was like I was taken out of the car and I was standing in the sky, and what I saw was 2 mountains. And I saw the car leave the one mountain and it did a flip. And as soon as it came around a 360 again, it was just shy of hitting the other mountain and landing. And instead of hitting the mountain, we started going down, 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 down. And I just said something, I can't remember the exact words, but something like, well, I guess this is it. It's time to go home. I knew we were going to die and we were going to be in the presence of the Lord any second. And then that was pretty much the end of my dream. I wasn't scared or anything. But when I woke up from the dream, I thought, well, why in the world did I dream of Michael Jackson? So, you guys, just to give you a little background on this and my knowledge of Michael Jackson, it's nil. He became popular, I think, in the early 80s, maybe around 82, and I was born in 74. So I was only like 7, 8 years old when he became popular. And so my knowledge of his music is like the first, like Thriller, Beat It, those first songs that came out. And when I became a teenager, it was more of like Bon Jovi and Motley Crue, bands like that. And then when I turned 18, I started listening to country, and that's all I've ever listened to up until 4 years ago when I surrendered my life back to Christ. I surrendered it all and I gave up all that music. So just the last 4 years, all I've ever listened to is Christian music. I don't even listen to country anymore. So you guys, my knowledge of Michael Jackson is so minimal, but I do know that he was known as the King of Pop. So I got up and I Googled Michael Jackson, and you guys, I am telling you the God's honest truth. I had no idea that Michael Jackson had a song called This Is It. And when I Googled Michael Jackson, this is what I saw, the first thing that I saw. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. This dream had to have been from the Lord, because I had no knowledge of this whatsoever. I knew he died quite a few years ago. So I started reading his Wikipedia page, and nothing really stood out till I got to the bottom of his personal life. And so I'm reading it, and one of the last statements he made to the press was, when I say this is it, it really means this is it. This will be the final curtain call. And I was like, oh my gosh, because we know many celebrities knew that they were going to pass away, like Prince. And I'm not going to get into that, but if you guys have watched those videos, some of these celebrities know that they're going to be killed by the Illuminati. And so that made me think of a dream that I had, oh gosh, probably a year and a half ago, where I can't remember the whole dream, you guys, because it was so long ago, but I had a dream about Jesus, and he was kind of dressed like Elvis Presley on stage. And we know Elvis Presley was known for the king of rock and roll. And in that dream, I was like his assistant, and we were on stage behind this curtain. And he had taken my hand and he put a keychain in my hand, and it said forgiveness on there. So when I woke up from the dream, that's the first thing I thought, was he was telling me forgiveness is key. These are the keys to heaven, that we have to forgive our loved ones and the people that hurt us. And the Bible verses, the Lord just commands us to forgive, even if it's over and over and over. And it doesn't matter what people do to us, we have to forgive. It doesn't mean that we have to continue having them be a part of our lives. But I thought that was the message in that dream. So I'm thinking, okay, king of rock and roll. Now Michael Jackson is the king of pop. Jesus is the King of Kings. You guys, this just like really stood out to me, this sentence. And I just, like I said, I woke up thinking this dream had to have been from the Lord, because I had no knowledge that Michael Jackson had this song, and it was his last tour. That was the name of his tour, was This Is It. So you guys, that dream was absolutely crazy. So, what I'm getting out of it is the Lord is truly saying, this is it. This is the last final curtain call. And then thinking about the woman in labor, all these dreams are telling us this is it. So again, you guys, Passover's in about 8-9 days. Many people are looking toward that, and I'm just hoping that Passover is truly it. But I know you guys feel it too. I know many of you guys feel the Lord is going to be here any moment. And the other day, I was laying in bed and I was just watching TV. And you guys, I think of Jesus is on my mind every second of every day. There's not 1 second that really goes by that I'm not thinking about the Lord and going home. But I was laying in bed the other night, and it was just the weirdest feeling that I ever had. And I'm sure you guys can relate, but it's like when you're waiting for your spouse to come home. Like when my husband worked out of the home, he always walked in the door at exactly 5:30. And my dogs always knew when Mike was going to walk in that door. So they would go lay down by the door at 5:25 and just wag their tail back and forth, because they knew Dad was going to be home any second. And I used to get that way, like, oh, Mike will be home in 5 minutes, just excited to see him after, a long day or whatever. And that's kind of the feeling I had the other night, was just waiting on the Lord. Like, I knew he is coming any second. I don't know how to describe it, you guys. I'm pretty sure you guys understand what I'm saying, but it was just that urgency. And I'm just sitting here watching TV, waiting for the Lord to walk through the door, waiting for that trumpet to sound, knowing that at any moment it's going to happen. It was just crazy, you guys. It was just the craziest feeling, the happiest feeling I ever had. And I think a lot of us are feeling that way. We're just knowing that the Lord is going to be here any second. I know most of you guys are feeling it too. But I've never felt this in all the 4 years that I've been waiting and watching every single day, stronger than what I feel right now. You guys, a lot of things are just pointing to right now. So again, we're just taking it day by day, hoping that this is the day. But there's so many key dates in the near future. Like I said, Passover, Israel's 70th birthday, Pentecost is looking like a high watch time too, but I'm not looking past Pentecost, which is May 20th and 21st. I'm not going to look a day past that day until, that day comes. But I truly believe many things are pointing to Passover. But that's just my opinion, and I'm not setting a date, so please don't come at me with that. But if you guys have any feedback for me on these dreams, I would love to hear what you guys think. If I'm missing something, if you guys know more about Michael Jackson, I would just love to hear what you guys think. So again, you guys, I got people to get up, so I'm going to let you go. You guys have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Take care and God bless.